Lab number 64. In this lab, we continue setup of our MobileFirst platform on Bluemix, and now it's time to set up the server. So in previous lab, we completed the analytics setup, so now we will focus almost on the same process for MobileFirst Platform Server. So first of all, we will need to open the terminal and verify that our Docker machine is running. So we can do it by typing Docker machine ls. So as you can see, it's running, everything is okay. Next thing, we need to tell that we will actually be working with this machine, and that can be done by posting the line that you can find in description for this lab, or you can enter it manually. So evaluate Docker machine environment default, just like that. Next step, what we will do, we will open our properties files for editing. And we will do it in the following way. We will use the Atom text editor, and as you remember, those things located under downloads folder and then MFPF server, and then you can find the folder scripts inside. That's it. So we need actually the files located under arguments folder. First one is init environment properties. Here you should fill actually the username, password, organization, and space. You can copy those values if you don't remember, for example, organization and space from the same config inside the analytics folder, inside analytics arguments. So let's fill this. Afterwards, you can save this file and close it. So next step for us will be to modify prepare server.properties file, and here first of all we will need to provide our namespace. If you remember, we were setting the same thing inside the analytics prepare server properties files. So this is the same namespace. In my case it's MFP help demo, and then some image names. So let it be MFP help server, something like that. Then we need to uncomment the project location, and here should be the URL, actually the path to the folder where you have your project. There are two options here. So the first one, you can provide directly the URL to folder where the var file located, because this project mainly will be used to get that var file and deploy your environment. Or you can provide the location to the root of your project if it's the correct project. I mean, if it has .project file on the root level and so on. So you can provide the location of that root project, and basically afterwards it will automatically locate the bin folder and take the var file from there. So in our case, we will go to the URL that is provided in description for this lab, where you can get the test project, and we will download the zip archive with this project and unpack it. So let's unpack it to downloads folder, and let's rename it to MFP server. Just like that. So now we need to provide the location, in our case the var file located under bin folder. So you can just click properties on this var file and copy location from there. Just like that, and save this file. Now you can close it. Next one is prepare server databases. Here we will need to specify which kind of database we would like to use. So there are two main options, the SQL database and NoSQL database, which will be clouded. So we will use SQL database, and we will need to provide instance name for a database service. So I will type something like MFP server DB, and then MFP database as the name for our application, where it will be binded, or even let's name it MFP app, it's even better. And the plan will be default one. If in case you would like to use Cloudant, you need to change this DB type to Cloudant, and then the server plan to shared, as it says in description. If you would like to do everything like I'm doing now, so just save this file and close it. And the last one is the start server properties file, and here we again need to provide the namespace and then the name of our image. So the same as like in prepare server, so I will just copy this line and pass it here, just like that. Then you need to provide the server container name that you would like to use, and let's have something like MFP server container. Then you need to provide the server IP address, and here you have two options. Option number one will be to bind it to the same IP address and then play with the ports on which the server is starting, or we will need to request the new IP address using ICE IP request and actually create our container on totally different IP address. So this is how we will do it. So in order to do that, we actually need to log in first. So let's open a terminal and use ICE login command. So let's try to do it under root user. Let's type sudo su to log in as root, and then basically ICE login. You need again to provide your credentials. And wait until this process will be completed. That's it. So now let's check what IPs we currently have. So you need to use ICE IP list. So this is the current IP and current container that is binded to it, and what we will need to do is to do ICE IP request. So this is the new IP address that we will actually use for our server, and this previous one will be used for analytics. So I will copy this IP address and pass it inside our file, just like that. Basically, this is almost it. If you don't want to use analytics, then you don't need to do anything else. But in our case, because we already have analytics server, it's crucial for us to configure analytics. And in order to do that, we will just need to scroll down to the last thing called MFPF properties. So this is the additional properties. The parameter is optional, as you can see. And here, basically, we can provide the URL for analytics. So what we will do, we will copy the line that is there as example, pass it there, and then just change the properties of the URL. So the only main thing that we need to change is basically the IP address, this one, instead of default. And then we need to provide a port also. So as you remember, 9080 is the default one. And the same for console URL. That's it. Now we can save these property files and close it. Basically, we modified all the properties files, and now it's time to push our container. So let's navigate to our downloads scripts folder inside MFPF server. And the first script that we will execute will be init environment with the arguments from the folder args init environment properties. Actually, it will be even better if we will execute this not from root but from IBM user. Let's actually go back to IBM user and to the same folder. and then execute the same script. So init environment as such, arguments, and environment properties. That's it. Now the second one is prepare server DBs and databases means. Again, arguments, prepare server dbs.properties. Yeah, as you can see, MFP app is actually taken, so this name should be some unique that nobody actually took. So let me modify that. Something like this. And try to relaunch the script. So now it completed successfully. So again, make sure that you won't do the same mistake as I just did. This is the unique name, so you should be fully aware that this should be something not equal to other people's work. So this means create your own name. So now the next step is actually prepare server script. And this one may take a while, so be ready for that. The same as with analytics, it will first build a container image and then push the container image to a Bluemix registry. So it really depends on your network connection, and this process may take up to 20 minutes, sometimes even longer if you have pretty weak connection. So I will speed up this process on video in order not to take so much time for you. That's it. And now the last step is actually to launch the start server script with, again, arguments, start server properties. So this may happen sometimes. It's actually related to cache I never noticed this type of issues on Mac or Windows. Well, on Ubuntu, in order to fix it, it's pretty easy. You can just try to do the same under other users. So, for example, in our case, let's do it under root user. I will type sudo su and again try to invoke this start server as such with the same arguments. That's it. Now we can actually close everything and go to the browser, go to the Bluemix, log in under our account and verify that we have a server there. So here we go, we have two containers. As you can see, the previous one with analytics is there running, and the second one with name FP server container as I chose. Actually, it's still building, so it may take up to 2 minutes, and let's wait until this process will be finished. So now, actually, as you can see from the message container is running, we can reopen this page to see the memory usage. Yep. So basically on this step, our lab is finished and we'll continue with the last step in next lab.